Hello, hello! Welcome back to the Frizz and Frills channel. Super excited to have you here, as always. Today we are going to get right into it because we are talking about a very, very important topic. And that, my friends, is diffusing, okay? I have so many questions on diffusing all the time. What should I do? What shouldn't I do? Should I follow this trick? Should I avoid heat? There are so many different things that are flying around about what you should do and what you should not do about diffusing. And y'all, I have been diffusing for a very, very, very long time, okay? So I'm going to tell you my top 10 do's and don'ts of diffusing. Okay, so I hope you guys are ready because we are going to get right into this one. But before we do get into this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon so you guys stay up on all my fun curly tutorials in the future. I don't want you to miss a beat because these are really going to take you from the start to the finish of what you need to be doing for your curly hair. So make sure you do that, and now we will get started. Number one, before you ever even get that diffuser out, you need to go ahead and grab your favorite curly friendly towel, okay? So there are multiple different types that are available. I'm linking them here below, but you need to take that after you have styled your hair because we are fully styled. Right now I have finger coiled, and if you don't know my finger coiling tutorial, it is going to be right up here so you guys can go check that out and come right back because that is a really important process to my styling method. After you have done that, you are going to go ahead and use that Diva towel or that special curly towel that you have, and you're actually going to take your hair and scrunch that towel in, and that is going to take 15 to 20 minutes off of your dry time. So when you do that, you want to be really soft with it, really controlled. Minimal movement is best, okay? So that really helps me make sure that I get through my dry time in under half an hour versus taking almost an hour for my dry time because I have very thick hair and I know a lot of you do too. So really important step. I found that probably a little over a year ago, and it has literally changed my diffusing game. What you don't want to do is have your hair dripping wet when you're about to diffuse. You are going to have to take so much extra moisture out that really doesn't even need to be there during the diffusing process. So take that tip, scrunch it out right after you're done applying your product. Number two, after you have done that, you're then going to allow a little bit of a light cast to happen on your curls. So normally I'll take this time to maybe start my makeup or do my skincare process and take about 10 to 15 minutes to let your curls really just solidify a little bit with what product you have now applied, because that's going to allow them to just take on that cast that you want, but so that they don't automatically start kind of frizzing out a little bit. Now, one of the things that we're going to be doing today is I have split my head so that you guys can see what the do's are and what the don'ts are, because it's really important that you guys see what the method to my madness really is here. So you're going to see, and I'm probably going to be walking around town with like a bad side and a good side the rest of the day. So just know, like, I love you guys and I do this for you, okay? Now, let's get into the actual diffusing. A lot of you ask, well, what diffuser do you recommend? Now, there are a lot of really great diffusers out there. You don't have to necessarily spend an arm and a leg in order to get a good diffuser. But I'm going to save a little extra something for you guys until the end, so stick around because I'm going to be giving you guys a little bit of freebie. Now, I actually use two different diffusers a lot of times during my diffusing process. One is the Diva dryer with the Diffuser little attachment here. So what I like about this is that I can actually move this around, and you really do not need you don't need the actual full dryer if you don't want to invest in it. You can just buy the little hand thing. What this does is this will allow you to get into the roots much easier and start drying those faster so that you don't have to basically go through at the ends, and you also don't have to hover. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of hovering because I also like all of the volume. Hovering does not give you volume, in my opinion. Now, keep in mind, guys, this is what I do. This is not necessarily always going to work for every single curly out there. So just take that with a grain of salt and just understand that this is what works for me, and I do hope that it works for you. So we're gonna use this to start. I will probably use this for about 10 minutes to just really get in those roots. And then we'll move over to my normal diffuser, which right now I'm currently using my Moroccan oil dryer. This one has the normal prongs, but y'all, I have had this for 3 years, maybe 4 years. No, I've had this for 4 years, guys. I will say it has lasted a very good long time, but it has also been through the ringer. It has lost 2 of the prongs because I travel with it all the time. And this part doesn't come off, so I can't transition it back and forth with my diffuser, so that's why I'm using 2 hair dryers. Number 3 for the tips of do's and don'ts of diffusing is all about how much air you're gonna blow out. So we're gonna talk about, so like on the Diva dryer right here, you actually have a 0, a 1, and a 2. I am always going to use the middle. So we wanna always use low amounts of like blowing, and then we always want to use medium, okay, medium low on the heat, okay? Sometimes you might want a cool burst, which you can do here. Most hair dryers have a cool burst setting, or they can go to like no heat as well. Up to you guys. I like the burst because if I sometimes want a little burst of cool, then I will use something like that. But pretty much rule of thumb here is that you are going to use low and low, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and start diffusing on this part. And I'll show you how I diffuse my roots. So this is where we're gonna start differing on the sides. So on my good side, I'm going to diffuse my roots. On this side, I'm not gonna diffuse my roots first, okay? Let's begin. Low and low. We're gonna turn on the side, and we're just gonna stick it in there like we would a hand, and hold it there. Now, one thing I want to point out is while you're diffusing, you should be keeping your dryer probably in the same spot for about 15 to 30 seconds. I normally don't keep it longer than that because I don't want any of my curls to get like a little wonky. I know some of you guys have had issues with that, and I've made this mistake before where I've left it too long in the same spot, especially when using my normal diffuser like this, and the curl gets bent in the diffuser. And then if you don't move it fast enough, it's going to dry exactly that way. So we don't want that, so we want to be moving at a pretty consistent basis. Okay, so we have officially dried the roots on this side. Again, we're doing the don'ts on this side. Good side, bad side. Number 4 of the next do's and don'ts is to start diffusing upside down and not diffusing right side up. We don't want to diffuse basically like this, because what is that going to do for our roots? Literally nothing. And that's why a lot of you have issues with no root volume. You're like, how do you get that volume? That's a huge piece of that puzzle. So we start out upside down and then we continue to move. And we're gonna go back and forth, okay? So we're gonna do that with this side, and this is gonna be the don't. Let's see how it goes. Next tip is, again, stay in that constant motion. If we don't stay in that constant motion, we're going to end up having a lot of really flat roots, and we're probably going to end up with some wonky pieces. When you are going to diffuse your root, you want to pick it up and bring it in, okay? And then kind of hold it like that. Versus going like this and just kind of setting it there. If you try to like pick it up and just set it there, it's going to dry pretty flat. As you can already see, we're already seeing these really flat roots over here, and we're seeing more bounce over here. Wait till you see the finished product. As you're drying, one of the other do's and don'ts is to make sure that you really try to keep your hands out of your curls from feeling them, because the more, again, don't side, the more you do this and you really break up that curl as you're feeling it while it's drying, the more you're disrupting that curl pattern that's more than likely going to make it frizz more. So keep your hands out and let the diffuser do its work. While you're also diffusing, make sure on the very top that when you put that in there, remember, you're going side and then you're gonna go up. Then you're just gonna shake it around just a little bit, disrupt it just a little bit, just at the root. That's the only place to do that. That's really gonna help with that root lift. Now, no matter how bad you wanna take apart that curl clump that just looks like it needs to be ripped into 5 different curls, don't you dare touch it until it's dry. Don't do it, okay? No matter how much I really wanna take that curl clump and separate it, I'm not gonna do it until it's dry. 100% dry. Now, over here, we have some curl clumps, okay? Look at that. Like, that's like a gajillion curls right there. This is the don't side. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna go ahead and separate. And we're taking apart those curls. And what are we doing? We are breaking that any sort of cast that gel has provided for us. And that is not going to help with frizz. One of the biggest things you guys are asking me all the time is how I get so much root volume. There are multiple ways to get diffusing volume. Some of those ways I've already talked about and it all adds up. But there are 3 main things that you can do. One of 3 is taking a root powder after you are 100% dry and adding a little bit to that root, to your roots, and shaking it up. The other thing is a pick, which I talked about multiple times. I do not know where my pick is right now, and it's actually really upsetting me. And it's making me realize that I probably should just have a pick for every single room in my house and every single purse. So, yeah. The other thing is, now this is gonna be kind of like my one exception to touching your hair before it is dry. I recently found this product. It's called INNERSENSE I Create Volume. This is a phenomenal product. You need very minimal of it. But this is the only thing that I'm going to say you could use and touch your hair a little bit before it's 100% dry. So around 80 to 90% dry, I like to take a little bit of this, just a little bit. It's kind of like a serum. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of the serum. It's like a very thin, slippery serum, okay? And you're just going to bring your fingers into your roots and massage this into your roots, okay? 80 to 90% dry. We're not gonna disturb the curl, but we're just going to massage this into your roots, all right? Once you have done that, you can finish drying. This I found adds so much extra volume to my curls without having to pick or add powder at all. It's kind of insane. And now we're gonna go ahead and finish drying to 100%, and I will show you the final results. We are officially fully dried. Already you guys can see, okay, I still have a split part, but look at how much extra top volume, and I haven't even separated my curls or added picking or root powder into the mix yet. And I already have, like, look, this one wants to stand right up, straight up. So much more you can see just by looking at it. Don't mind my roots. My roots are getting done in like 3 days. But you can see how much of a difference it has made in using my do's versus my don'ts. Look at even just the shape of my hair. It looks like I have a completely different haircut. I don't. That is purely from my diffusing techniques. The last step to kind of like my diffusing end of styling process is adding that root powder. So we're gonna add a little bit of root powder just to the side to add that extra little oomph to zhuzh it up, and I'm gonna show you what that final product looks like. So I'm going to use a little bit of the Not Your Mother's Girl powder. And what we're going to do is take it into basically 3 little sections. Okay, a little bit of powder there. And just zhuzh it up. Only by the roots, guys. Only by the roots. We don't want to mess up all that work that we just did. So just really get your fingers in there and shake it up. Okay, and then we're going to go up a level. Add a little bit more. And zhuzh it up. And lastly, we're just going to go right up here, right at the top of the crown. Oh, I can't see that. See any coming out? I can't tell. I could have just put a lot of powder in there and I have no idea. Now that we're fully zhuzhed, I like that word, zhuzhing. Just got like a hair in my mouth. We are going to take apart those curls that were not separated yet because now they are fully dry. Okay, and now we have our final product. After adding a little bit of zhuzhing in there, we are fully done with both sides. And this side makes me really sad because it has literally no volume, and you guys know I love my volume. Okay, now I'm gonna have to go cry. Just kidding. Okay. Thank you guys for watching this tutorial. I hope you guys got a lot out of it, and make sure you hit that subscribe button before you go. I'll see you guys next week.